Welcome to Citizens Reunited to Overcome Cancer, a show to make your survivorship an easier journey by providing information and advocating for you. A show to help practitioners and their level of performance. This is the CROC Podcast. Here is your host, Dr. E. And alongside him to share some hope and inspiration from the Have Faith, Let It Begin podcast, co-host Angel Santana.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CROC Podcast. CROC stands for Citizens Reunited to Overcome Cancer. We are your one-stop shopping when it comes to your survivorship needs. Joining me, as always, my Alfred Pennyworth to my Batman, my sidekick, Angel Santana. Angel, happy Memorial Day weekend.
Yes, happy Memorial Day weekend to everybody in the CROC Nation, Citizens Reunited to Overcome Cancer. And a real quick programming note to every single person. You know, last week we had an opportunity to invite each and every one of you to tell us which episode you liked. We want to hear your voices. We want to hear what you like because we're going to give away brand new CROC VIP bracelets. So all you have to do is listen to an episode. Listen to this one. Send us a picture. Say hi to us on social media. Guess what? You get a free bracelet. Dr. E, it's a pleasure to be by your side.
Awesome. You know what, Angel? I think this is going to be my favorite podcast, so I'm going to vote for this one before we even do it so I could get a bracelet.
5 stars. Let's go.
There you go. So listen, this is going to be a podcast that's going to be a little difficult for a number of reasons, and I think you'll understand. So before I even start, I want to tell you something about Memorial Day and how we're going to put a different spin on it. So I want to be very clear and I want to be very sincere about this. Memorial Day is and will always be a sacred American holiday. It's dedicated, no question, to honoring the brave men and women who served and gave their lives for our freedom. This is a holiday that is specifically for them, and nothing that I say today is meant to diminish their sacrifice in any way. Their courage, their devotion, and the ultimate gift of their lives deserves our greatest and deepest gratitude and remembrance. But today, with that being said, I'd like to reflect on another kind of courage, not on courage that you find on a battlefield, but rather a courage that we find on a battlefield of illness. So today I want to honor all of the cancer patients who fought with extraordinary bravery and who are no longer with us. So today we honor them. I have been in medicine for 40 years this year, and the most time, the majority of that time spent taking care of our courageous cancer survivors. And I want to tell you that every single person who has crossed my path, and there are thousands, and I could see your faces and I can remember you very vividly. Some I can remember only in fragments, such as your smile or your voice, maybe one of the handshakes you gave me, or a look that we shared in the exam room together when words no longer mattered. But together, you all have become part of my life, and in many ways, part of who I am. People think about oncology and they think about sadness, they think about grief, and they think about what a depressing type of life it must be to be an oncologist. And it's anything but that. It is not depressing, despite the fact that they can imagine endless sadness and endless loss. But that's not my experience of oncology. What I experience is humanity at its absolute best. I see courage that most people cannot imagine. I see young mothers who comfort their families while they're facing their own terrifying diagnosis. I see partners that have been married for 50 and 60 years who are not worried about their own death, but only worried about the loneliness and the sadness that they leave behind for their partner. I see patients and survivors walking into their radiation therapy treatments every day, not with sadness or depression, but with dignity, with humor, and with grace, even when they're exhausted, even when they're frightened, and even when they're in pain. I see people who continue to love fiercely while life was taking and asking everything from them. Everyone thinks that strength has to look dramatic. And what I learned over these last 40 years is that strength rarely looks dramatic or loud. In in essence, it usually looks very quiet and very subdued. It's just like showing up, just being alive and being in the moment to show up for your treatments without letting that fear and pain get in your way. It looks like a patient, a survivor sitting in a chemo chair for 6 hours, but still asking their nurse how their day is going. It looks like a patient who can't swallow, yet somehow able to find a smile to and give strength to their partner, to their spouse. It looks like something like if you hear the words your cancer has spread and then not hearing oh no, you hear okay, what do we do next? What's next? What is the next step? How do we continue this battle? And really, this is what courage is. This is real courage. There are patients who never leave you. Every doctor that I have ever spoken to in oncology understands exactly what I'm saying. Certain of our patients will stay with us forever. Sometimes they stay with us because of how hard they fought. Sometimes they stay with us because they were fearless in the face of death. Sometimes they stay with us simply because they reminded you of what it means to be human. I remember patients who made me laugh when I was the one having a hard day. Patients who taught me humility and patients who taught me perspective. Patients who made me a better doctor and, to be honest with you, made me a better man. And if I'm being really truthful, there were also many moments of heartbreak, moments where medicine was just not enough. My radiation was not enough. Our surgery was not enough. Our chemotherapy was not enough. Moments where all of the scans, all of the plans, all of the treatments, all of the science, no matter what, all of this in the world, in the universe, could not stop what was coming. And those are the nights we remember. Those are the nights that we sit quietly and wonder if we could have done something differently, or if we could have done something more, or if we could have done something better. Those are the nights when our patients' faces follow us home, follow us into our personal lives, and follow us in our dreams. But these are the moments that the patients continue, your survivors continue to teach us. They teach us that life is not always measured by length, it's measured by depth. It's not how many years you lived, it's how you lived those years. And it's measured by love, and it's measured by resilience, and it's measured by how someone carries themselves when confronted with the unimaginable reality of your own mortality. And again, over the years, I've come to believe that cancer patients and our brave soldiers, our military, actually share something profound in common. Neither volunteered for suffering, yet both faced uncertainty with courage. They both endured battles most people will never see, and many carried their burdens quietly, trying not to frighten the people that they love. I have watched patients become warriors, not metaphorically, truly warriors. I've seen them endure surgeries, radiation burns, chemotherapy, feeding tubes, isolation, fear, recurrence, and pain, and somehow not be angry, but be able to find gratitude, and somehow still find a way of keeping hope even in their desperate situations. And for those who did not survive, for those that are no longer with us, I want to say this today. You mattered. You were not simply a chart. You were not simply a diagnosis. You were not simply a treatment plan. You changed people. You changed your families. You changed your doctors. And you certainly changed me. And I will say that you made us better. There are patients from 40 years ago whose names I still remember. There are patients whose stories I will carry to my grave when it's my turn to face my mortality. There are patients whose courage still influence the way I speak to families today. This is called legacy. This is the gift you have left to us. So on this Memorial Day weekend, while we honor America's fallen heroes, which we absolutely should, I also want to take a moment for another quiet moment and another quiet memorial for the men and women who fought cancer with extraordinary dignity, for the patients and survivors who walked into treatment rooms afraid but walked in anyway, for the families who sat beside our survivors while they were in their hospital beds and held their hands late into the night, for the spouses who never missed an appointment, for their children who had to become caregivers much too early, and for every patient who ever trusted me enough to allow me into one of the hardest chapters of their lives, I say thank you. I say we honor you. It was the privilege of my lifetime to care for you. And even though many of you are gone, you are not forgotten. You are not forgotten today. You are not forgotten ever. Angel Santana, your thoughts.
Wow, it's very difficult. As we close out today's episode, we want to take the moment, of course, as you stated from the very beginning. So on my part, I want to take this moment to say Memorial Day weekend to honor courage in all its forms. Um, we remember the brave men and women who sacrificed so much for others, and we also honor every cancer survivor, thriver, caregiver, and family member who has fought battles that many people never see, just as you stated, because, courage doesn't always wear a uniform. Sometimes courage looks like showing up to treatment, and sometimes courage looks like choosing hope on difficult days, and courage is simply finding the strength to keep going. And for me personally, being a producer and co host of this podcast, Citizens United to Overcome Cancer, it's changed my life in many ways I've never expected. With this podcast, has brought into my life the people I've met, the stories I've heard, the lessons I've learned, and the education I've received through this journey has truly been a blessing for myself. I want to let everyone know this. This podcast has taught me compassion on a deeper level. It's taught me gratitude. It has taught me to slow down and appreciate presence over perfection. And most importantly, as Dr. E stated, it reminded us and reminds me just how powerful the human spirit truly is. So no matter where you are tonight, may you be reminded that your life has value, your story has purpose, and your strength may be inspiring someone else more than you realize. So I thank you, Dr. E, and from all of us here at the CROC Podcast, thank you for allowing us to walk this journey with you. Together, we thrive.
Thank you, Angel. And I want to tell everyone out there as we close out today's podcast, all of us are survivors and our caregivers, our caretakers, our family members, um, the entire team. We all know someone who has lost their battle with cancer. So for this Memorial Day, we are going to devote and we are going to honor the memory of our survivors who are no longer with us. You have made a huge impact on us. You have left a legacy and you will never be forgotten. So, on behalf of Angel and the entire board of directors, we wish every single person out there who is fighting the fight a long, healthy, happy, and cancer free life. God bless you. God be with you. Peace.
Hey, CROC Nation, if today's message inspired you, please subscribe, download, and share this episode with your friends or someone who you believe needs it. Visit us at crocvip.com to connect, learn, and join the fight. Let's spread hope, one story at a time. Until next time, remember, we are not just a podcast, we are a movement.